What is up, friends? Welcome back here. It's been a while, it's been a minute, but I know. Today, we are talking about the effective study tips for African students. So for those of you that are new here, my name is Simon, and here I'll speak the African way of things that actually do matter. Today, just like you've seen in the title, we are looking at effective study techniques for African students that we can actually use to maximize learning. Tip number one, it's very much important to actually set goals and also have a study plan. It is very, very important. For example, if the previous term or the previous semester, your CGPA has been low and you want to actually hype it up, then your study plans and the goals that you've set are going to determine how often you're going to be reading. You're looking forward to something. Tip number two that I have for us as African students in a way to actually effectively study and also maximize learning. Explore active learning techniques. What do I mean by active learning techniques? I'll give you a typical example. In engineering school, we used to have a book called Engineering Mathematics or Advanced Automotive Engineering or General Chemistry books. All those books actually did have topics, different chapters, and all those things. But in those chapters, we were having particular questions at the end of every chapter, sample questions for you to actually try out and see. Now, that is one of an active learning technique. You do self-quizzing, and the good thing with these books, they actually include answers at the back, so you work out but you know even the answer. That is self-quizzing. It's one of the active learning techniques that you can actually explore. There is summarizing. When you actually read a chapter, a particular concept, summarize it in the language that you can actually best understand, so that when it gets to the exam and that same concept or that same question is wrote, you know how to tackle it because you wrote it again in your own understanding. You get what I mean? Another active learning technique is to actually teach others. Teaching others is so powerful because the more you teach others, the more your brain is actually generating and creating pathways for that particular concept that you're teaching others. I'll give you a quick example. My friend right here is one of the people that have been actually teaching us and leading the discussions for way back from year one. And guess what? His performance has always been up. Why? Because he has always taught. He could actually go and do personal reading and then after come and discuss for the rest of us. So there's something about teaching others. When you teach others, your brain is actually keeping that information in the long-term memory. When it comes in the exam, you are going to excel. Tip number three that I have for us, we need to manage distractions and actually create a study environment. Jazz is not bad. Hanging out with friends is not bad at all. But you need to actually prioritize things up based on the goals that you actually set. That is tip number one. And the study plan that you are having. You need to create a conducive environment. But I must say, I am blessed enough to have studied in schools that had libraries where you could actually go, borrow a book from the library, and then you read in there in a conducive environment. So there are certain concepts that you will not understand unless you are in a consecrated place. There are certain numbers that you won't crack unless you are actually in a certain environment, study environment. So it's very much important that you manage distractions. If it's time for reading, then get away from your group mates who are just talking about football. Get away from your group mates who are talking about Fast and Furious X. You know, it is fancy, it is interesting, it has just come out, but it is also important that you actually prioritize your education. Tip number four, we need to leverage technology. I want to let you know we are living in a so technological era. Things are no longer the way they were. For example, are you seeing these glasses? This is technology. These are ultraviolet glasses. It is something that was not there before, but scientists have actually invented something like this to support people's eyes and protect them from ultraviolet light, from blue light, which might have negative effects on them. And I want to let you know, as a student, as an African student, if you don't leverage technology for your learning, then my friend, you might lag behind. We are having AI systems right now. ChatGPT is there. You get what I mean? You ask it a question and it will give you an answer, or it will give you a start of how to start to tackle a particular question. Does that make sense? I'll give you a quick example. While we are still in school, most of the numbers or most of the concepts that we do not understand, we could actually look at for videos on YouTube, and we would watch these Indian guys crashing those numbers. We would watch these Pakistani guys actually explaining. We would watch these English guys explaining concepts, and we would grasp them. And when these things came in the exam, we would actually remember, oh yeah, this is the video we watched on YouTube. Some lecturers, I won't say they are not serious, but they make life easier. The same questions that are done in these videos, the same questions that are on these platforms, the same questions that you're actually going to find on Google, are the same questions this guy is going to bring. He might just tweak a little bit of numbers, but it's the same question, it's the same concept. Leverage technology. And lastly, tip number 5 that I have for you, my friends, is to prioritize self-care. Take some break, you get what I mean. Maintain a healthy work-life balance, you get what I mean. It is very much important. It is actually very much important. We have seen kids who are overreading, they ran mad. We have seen kids who are overreading, they went into depression. We've seen kids who have been overreading and they failed. Life is a marathon, it's not a sprint. Because when you sprint, you're going to get tired quickly on the way. But when you go a marathon, you're going to take step by step and you're going to go a little bit further. So it's important as African students that we actually take some breaks and maintain a healthy work-life balance. I'll give you an example. Oh God, I for one, I miss joining certain clubs, I miss joining certain social groups. I for one, I actually did miss maybe certain jazzes. I miss getting into certain activities because I actually wanted to concentrate on my books and read. And guess what has happened? Of recent, we have heard that most of the courses that we did were actually expired. Imagine that. You get what I mean? So imagine letting go of all those things and then you end up with an expired course. Does that make sense? So this won't happen to you. But what I'm trying to let us know is maintain balance things up. You get what I mean? God bless you. My name is Simon, speaking the African way of things that actually do matter. I feel excited to be back here. Are you with me? God bless you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Share this with your friend, your sister, your siblings who are still in school, and God will bless you. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.